Uh, Hello and welcome to the Light Beam Hour. This program is designed to provide a forum for masterful teachers to share their individual messages and wisdom and to help people all over the world heal and awaken their lives. Those of you who don't know me, my name is Cecily MacArthur, and I am a creator and host of the Light Beam Hour. And let me just introduce a little bit about me and who I am. So I'm a spiritual teacher, life coach, speaker, and writer, and my life mission is to help people to connect with spirit, to awaken their authentic selves, discover their true purpose, embrace change and responsible choices, and create the life of their dreams. Before I introduce my guest, I'd just like to talk a little bit about the format for the show so people understand what we have and what we're doing here. Before we start, all attendees, all of you out there listening, are going to be muted for the call because we just end up with too much background noise if I don't do that. So we will have opportunity to ask questions at different points during the show, and I will ask you then you can hit 5-star on your phone, and that'll raise your hand, and I can see you, and then I will unmute you, and you can ask your question. So, and I encourage people to ask questions. There's always, when you ask a question, there's always someone else out there, probably many people out there with a similar question who just are afraid to raise their hand and ask. And by your asking the question, you're helping many other people to learn more or deepen the learning. So I'm going to thank you ahead of time for participating in this call. All right, so now let's get started, and I would like to introduce my guest. I am very excited to be here today with Amethyst Wyldfyre. Such a fabulous name. I love it. And she is the Energy Mastery Coach, a multidimensional visionary and transformational spiritual leader, teacher, guide, and divine wisdom channel. Amazing description there just in those things. She specializes in serving highly influential systemic change agents, coaches, trainers, speakers, performers, artists, and alternative healers to leap fearlessly into their highest level of service to the planet. She is the foundation, she's the originator, along with her divine business partner, and I'm tricky on the name here, you let me know, it's like Mikhail Samikumara. That close?
Mikhail Samikumara. Mikhail, like Raphael, like Archangel Raphael, it's Mikhail.
Beautiful. All right, Mikhail Samikumara of Core Path, and we're going to talk more about that and what that is. Now, the Energy Foundations for Divine Wealth Intensive and Powerful Energy Journey program for evolving entrepreneurs, which creates a sacred space of transformation for their clients, within which they surface their own strengths, achieve great clarity, cultivate greater oneness to source, reveal hidden gifts and talents, and energize to implement their own mission and purpose in life. And who wouldn't want that? That's great. Amethyst is an award-winning entrepreneur, an initiated shamanist, and the Inca tradition, and we will talk a little bit about that too, the originally ordained crystal singing bowl sound therapist, and published author of several books. And it goes on, and we have many things, but I would rather get started and actually talk to her so she can talk more about the many accolades she's had, but I think that we would rather turn it over and say, welcome, Amethyst. It is so fabulous to have you here on this lovely snowy day.
Well, thank you, Cecily. Thank you so much for inviting me to be part of this and to give me the opportunity to serve you and all the people who are listening. And yes, it's funny when we when we step into our work, as I'm sure you know, part of our work is always about crafting our biographical information so that we can put it out there in the world and make connections with people. And it's so funny whenever I listen to people introducing me using the biographical information, people, different people pick and choose different parts of it to share. And sometimes I listen and I'm like, wow, that's pretty amazing. And at the same time, I want everybody to understand that, yes, we all have incredible gifts, and we all have opportunities to take those gifts to all different levels in our life and in our work. And at the same time, I put my pants on the same way everyone else does, one leg at a time. I'm a single mom. I have my own home here in southern New Hampshire, and I have a deck that needs to be shoveled right now. So I'm a regular person too, and so I just like to make sure that we keep it grounded and real, as well as just really recognize some of the things that I have accomplished and help make that kind of bridge and connection to people so that they understand that I do have some life experience and some gifts to share, and at the same time, I'm really real.
I appreciate that, and I got a good picture of your deck with snow on it, so thank you for that. I would love you to start and just sort of tell us how you got to this illuminated person and some of the background, where you came from, and some of the journey that you've traveled to get here.
Sure. So up until 2001, 2002 timeframe, I was a real estate developer and common interest community consultant, and never in a million years would have ever imagined I'd be talking to somebody who was running a show called the Light Beam Hour. Ever. Wasn't even in my realm of thinking, not at all. And during that time period, I was going through a divorce and I got connected to yoga, and then I got connected to the stones and the crystals through a friend who taught me how to make jewelry, and began to have my own personal spiritual awakening start to happen for me. And at the end of my divorce, probably about October of 2002, right after that, I realized that I needed to divorce my business partner too and stop doing what I was doing. And at the time, I had just finished being the national chairperson for my trade association, so I was representing like 1 in every 8 homeowners in the country, because the trade association that I was the chairperson of, we were representing community associations, homeowners associations, and so forth. So it was very interesting, because when I started to move through this awakening process through yoga and working with crystals and stones, making jewelry, and finding out more about crystals and crystal energies and so forth, finally came to a moment where I knew in December of 2002, I walked into my office to my business partner and I said, I'm all done. I can't be in this partnership anymore. And he turned around and he looked at me, and I knew inside myself, I had this knowing that at the deep soul level, that if I stayed another minute, I was going to die. I mean, that was exactly how I felt. Like, if I stay in this business, in this relationship, doing what I'm doing, another minute, I'm going to die. And he turned around and he looked at me and he said, well, what are you going to do? And I said, I'm going to be a crystal healer. And it fell right out of my mouth. So I had never even had a crystal healing before myself. So I didn't even really know what a crystal healer was, but that's what fell out of my mouth. And that kind of initiated my journey and my leap. I leapt at that point out of my work that I was doing, and I just took a flying leap. And I was newly divorced, and I had the house and the mortgage and the kid, and my ex-husband had the money, and I knew that if I didn't step into what I was, being called out, it was really more that I was called out of doing what I was doing. I didn't really know what I was stepping into. It was more of a knowing that I had to get out of what I was doing. And so I just continued on that path of exploring and expanding myself, and discovered so many parts of me that were unexpressed and unknown and hidden in my being, and went through an enormous healing journey over the last several years, including having a Sticks and Bricks art gallery and healing art center that I had in the middle 2000s, and now up until today, where I'm really here now to serve what I call evolving entrepreneurs. And there are people who are being called in some way or have been called in some way into a passionate purpose that is intended to serve people, to help people, or to change the world, or to change a field of expertise, or to change something. They're change agents. They're people who are here to make change, who are here to bring in a whole new way of doing things. And so I now have married my entrepreneurial, 20 years of award-winning entrepreneurship with another almost 10 years of exploration into the spiritual and metaphysical. So I really help to working with my clients, I help them to bring that spiritual into the practical and make that divine union happen. Yeah.
Really great combination. I do want to talk and go into the entrepreneurial support and the ideas of energy in people's businesses in a minute, but I am just fascinated about the idea of your the crystal singing bowl sound therapist. Can you just give us a little
Sure.
brief about what that is and how you use that and what that happens for people when you do the healing?
Absolutely. So I, in the course of the last 10 years, I acquired a ton of tools in my toolbox. I acquired the sound work. I acquired shamanic training. I've been trained by Alberto Vialdo and the Four Winds Society in the healing of the light body. I have Shambhala, multidimensional healing. I'm a master teacher of that, and I've been naturally receiving and continually being quote unquote upgraded by the upstairs team, having kind of spontaneous attunements and activations of my own light body and my own gifts. And so part of what happened for me when I had my Healing Arts Center and Art Gallery, that was a sacred space within which I really stepped into being Amethyst Wyldfyre. I really stepped into, claiming myself as somebody who was doing healing work and psychic work and artwork and all of those things. And that experience also happened to be in my life path. That whole experience of having the Healing Arts Center and Art Gallery was a huge money lesson for me at the soul level. And so this is part of what I bring forth and help people with is, rather than moving through something at the physical level to get the lesson, I really like to help people at the energetic level so they don't have to play it out at the physical like I did. And that became a $250,000 life lesson. That at the very end of that, I, had spent tons of money. I had really, stepped into and created something that I thought was going to last, and stepped into really serving my community in a lot of ways. And at the end of that, when I was sitting looking at where I was at financially and what was happening with the business, and I was at a moment where I said, okay, I've got to do something to make a shift. And so I chose to bring in crystal singing bowls into my business at that time, thinking, okay, I can do bowling nights, or I can sell the bowls and maybe make some, make things happen, make things shift in my business with the bowls. And what ended up happening was the bowls came in, and as soon as the bowls came in, I got very clear very quickly that it was time for me to close my store and close my gallery and move out. So the bowls came in to move me out of that. And I work with the singing bowls completely intuitively, and I have 9 bowls, and they're made out of quartz crystal. One of my bowls is actually an amethyst bowl.
Wow.
And the bowls and I work together, and we create, using sound. Sound actually supersedes the mind. So we can create energetic shifts in the energy field of a person, and even in the energy field of a business, by sending harmonic frequencies along with the intention of healing and bringing into balance, using the sound and using the singing bowls and various other instruments. I don't just have the singing bowls. I actually have drums and bells and rattles and tons of fun instruments, and I use my voice too. So that's just one. The sound piece is one very powerful tool that I have in my toolbox, and what the sound does is it very much, it's like a tuning fork when you go in to tune a piano. Our frequencies, our energy fields can get out of harmony. They can get into disharmony, which then eventually results in manifesting dis-ease. And what the sound does is it helps you to have a touch point at the energetic level to resonate with, so that you can bring your field into harmony and into resonance. And so, in fact, I was reading this morning. I do some reading every morning, and there was a little paragraph that I read about if two separate heart cells from two different people are put into a petri dish and they're both beating at they're beating different from one another, eventually they end up syncing up. They end up coming into synchronization with one another. And so when we work with sound, it's got that same kind of effect. When you send out a frequency that is an ideal for, let's say, the crown chakra or the throat chakra or the heart chakra, you are inviting the energy center to come into harmony with that frequency. Yeah.
Beautiful.
And so that all came to me naturally. I have not been trained in any way by, formally trained. I did take one, long after I had already gotten involved with the singing bowls, I did take one workshop with Jonathan Goldman, who is a pioneer of sound and sound healing, and he's just an amazing man. But that was mostly working with voice and not with any other instruments. So for me, the bowls and I work together. We co-create things, and one of the things we co-created back in 2009 was a CD called Divine Union, which is a crystal singing bowl healing journey, and that CD ended up being awarded. It was a finalist in the International New Age Trade Show in Denver back in 2009, and it was right behind Jonathan Goldman's CD. So it was pretty interesting because I just went into the studio and I was like, I don't know what I'm doing, and I'm just going to play my bowls and I'm going to do whatever comes out. And it was completely channeled. And I hadn't really, thought of doing anything to, become an award-winning singer or anything. But my upstairs team, my guidance came through and said, submit for this award. So I was like, okay, I'll submit for the award. And next thing you know, I'm right behind Jonathan Goldman. I was like, okay, that was cool. What's next? Cool. What's next on the agenda? What are we doing next for fun?
Well, it's great that you've learned to listen to that. I like your upstairs team. That's a great terminology to be able to know to move to do this, even without the training. That it's part of who you are, and to discover the different parts of that you have inside that have always been there.
Yeah, and it was such a fun experience to go into the studio and record, and I had a great studio guy. He was just amazing, and I'm at some point going back in. I will go back into the studio, and I will make something else. It's not time quite yet, but soon.
Great.
Soon something will emerge.
Well, thank you for talking about how that works, and wanted to swing it back around to the entrepreneurs and think about, the using sound on the different practices that you have to helping energetic challenges that people in business for themselves, entrepreneurs or business owners, or people who just want to improve their life journey. What kinds of things are out of harmony for them that you've run into? What are some of the typical things that are the issues that you help people address?
So I would say that number one, and I just had a call with somebody who came on as a new client today. So, of course, the number one thing that really runs in the background for a lot of people, whether they're in entrepreneurship or just on their life journey, that is the number one challenge, of course, is fear. And the fear manifests in a number of different ways. This particular person had anxiety over investing in herself. Some people have fear over public speaking. Some people have fear about having one-on-one conversations with people. Some people have a fear of selling. Some people have a fear of expressing themselves in writing. So there's all kinds of ways that the challenges can manifest themselves and show up to create opportunities for you to see where you're challenged. And our business is such an amazing gift to us. When we're called, here's one of the things that I discovered when I was called, and I know is true for probably you and many of the people who we're talking to today, and certainly for all of my clients. When we're called into really fully expressing ourselves, and we're called into our life mission, and we're called into what I call your passionate purpose, we have this wonderful expansion, which is, kind of what happened for me. I had this huge expansion. We have this wonderful expansion, and it feels amazing because you're suddenly, finding out things about yourself that you never knew before. And then we are called to deliver those gifts. And the way that we're called to deliver those gifts is pretty much, for most of us, through the vessel of entrepreneurship. Mm-hmm. And, there are not a whole lot of job offers out there in corporations for a shamanist or a sound therapist or an author or a speaker or a light beam hour producer. Do you know what I mean? So we are called in not only to our passionate purpose, but we are called into entrepreneurship. And so some of the challenges that also arise for entrepreneurs, these passionpreneurs as I call them, is just a total lack of awareness about how to structure a business. Just the core foundational pieces of a business, and knowing how to even having the awareness of that is a powerful thing. But then knowing how you can relate personally to your business and to those core foundational pieces that must be in place in order to have a successful business is a huge, huge piece that is highly beneficial for evolving entrepreneurs to be able to get, to just understand that there is a foundation. We have what we call the SCORE. We have a system called the SCORE system, SCORE for your spiritually energized entrepreneurial success. And in our SCORE system, we use a process, which is what the SCORE acronym stands for, to help people at the energetic level to move through a bunch of stuff that comes up around the things that are the activities that happen within the 5 pillars of entrepreneurship. And we use the SCORE acronym to also talk about those 5 pillars of entrepreneurship. So just having the awareness that, for example, organization is one of the pillars, that organization is something that needs to be in place in order to have, and that's a pretty simple one, in order to have a viable business. Just having that awareness, then you as a person, as the entrepreneur, can connect in with this pillar of entrepreneurship, this organization pillar, and get an awareness for yourself of where you are energetically in relationship with that organization pillar. So, some of our entrepreneurs come to us, they're completely disorganized. That can be a challenge. Some of our entrepreneurs come to us, they have thousands of ideas and they can't get them to manifest. Some of our entrepreneurs come to us and they know they have a purpose, they know that they've got to have a business, and they're just completely paralyzed. They're stuck. They don't know how to move forward, and they don't know how to move forward for any number of reasons, and it can be very practical and it can be very spiritual. And so that's, really what I'm here to do, and my partner and I are here to do, is to really help people to make that bridge and to have the spiritual piece of it, the energetic piece of it really in order so that you can take decisive and inspired action in the delivery of your passion and the delivery of your gifts.
I love that. I want to sort of explore that a little bit more and think about you talked about the energy field of your business, and I love the 5 pillars and your SCORE system. How do you get in touch with what that energy field is and actually think of your business as having separate energy from you. I love that idea.
So it's really easy to explain it to people by saying, if you've ever walked into a Starbucks, it has a certain vibe to it, right? It has a certain energy. When you walk into a Starbucks, it has its own vibe. Mm-hmm. And it's a very different vibe or energy from walking into, say, a Home Depot, right? Mm-hmm. And so the same is true for your business. The same is true for your business. Your business has its own vibe or energy field. Now, for many people who are newly stepping into business or maybe have been in business for a while, but are, would call themselves solopreneurs, people who are just doing it by themselves. Often these are coaches or speakers or artists or trainers of some sort. They're just kind of on their own doing it by themselves. They might have a team of people that they're working with, that they're delegating stuff to, that they don't have a whole lot of expertise to, but for the most part they're solo. They don't really think of the business as having an energy of its own or a life of its own. And the truth is that it actually does, and that whatever you, the creator of that business, are carrying in your soul that is a block or a disconnect or a short circuit of some sort or a fear actually gets, in the creation of your business, it gets embedded into your business field. And your business shows up as a relational field. You are relating with your business. So if you've got money issues that are in your soul, you're going to, they're going to show up. Like I had a $250,000 lesson in my business, and I would much rather have, had I had the gift of knowing about energy and about how to shift things at that spiritual level back then, it would have been much less expensive financially and much easier for me to move through that process rather than spending $250,000. I would have cleared my money stuff first and then seen whether or not that was actually the right path for me. And in the end, for me personally, it was the right path, because here I am and I'm able to tell this story, and I'm able to help others to circumvent that obstacle by getting clear at the energetic level ahead of time rather than playing this stuff out with your business. So I believe that we all have a relationship with our business, and our business does have a life or an energy field of its own. And so we use these 5 pillars of entrepreneurship to kind of give you touch points to let you connect in energetically with your business. And the 5 pillars, they stand alone, and they intersect with one another to create that kind of core foundational energetic piece that is the basis of your business. So those 5 pillars are strategy, communication, organization, revenue generation, and execution. And so the way that we really are able to help you to connect to the field of your business is to ask you to just step into your imagination, to step into your energetic, your spirit side, to step into that energetic space and really just connect in with each of those individual pillars and see how they intersect and interact with one another. And when you do that, it's really a heart-based thing where you can really make a connection with your business, and eventually you can connect to the overarching deva or spirit of your business and have communication. In fact, my business partner and I have spent the last 3 months or so on a daily basis during the week having a meeting with our business. We meet with each other on the phone and with our business, and really connecting in to the energetic blueprint of our business to make sure that we have our foundations in place to be able to serve the people we're here to serve. And it's amazing when you allow the business to inform you when you are aware of the fact that the business does have a life of its own and can have a life of its own and can actually grow beyond you. So there are people out there who may be ready to take their solopreneurship to the next level and maybe step into a partnership, which I'm at that point right now. Is I'm in a partnership with somebody, and in going into that partnership, it's a whole new energetic. Now there's two of us, and now each of us are contributing to the creation, the co-creation of this energy field that is our business. And then eventually there may come a point in time where this business begins to run itself, essentially. Then I would step into a role more of CEO, kind of like overseeing a big operation, but the operation can live with or without me. And then it can become a legacy. So a business can actually grow and to have a life of its own and live beyond you. So it's important to really have that consciousness and that awareness that it does have this energy field that you can interact with, and you can do energetic activities and exercises to actually help to surface anything that needs to be seen and cleared so that you and the business can work in divine right relationship with one another.
Wow. So from what you're saying, it's a great concept, because when I first heard you talking about this, I had never considered, as a solopreneur, as you said, I never considered that my business had its own energy. And when you talked about it, it's like, oh, wow. The idea that you could then work on yourself and your own blocks and your own energy and clear those so that those don't get embedded in your business or get in the way or cost you lots of money as you making mistakes. But the idea that there is also then an ongoing dialogue. It's not just the upfront stuff. You're talking about it, doing it on a daily basis.
Yeah, there is definitely an ongoing dialogue because you are evolving personally, and your business is too.
Yes.
Your business is constantly evolving. And so, sometimes what happens is I'll talk to entrepreneurs, and they've been in business. I've got one client right now who's been in business for 12 years. She's, or maybe even longer. I think she started her coaching practice in 1996 or something. And so she's been doing this work for a long, long, long time. And now all of a sudden she's at a place where her business is completely plateaued. It's stuck. It's not going anywhere. And she came into conversation with me knowing that she was not delivering at the level that she's supposed to be delivering at now. And we ended up, she ended up becoming a client and enrolling in our program because she understands that she's really being called at this point to create a legacy, to create something that is going to live on after her. And in order to do that, she's now kind of embedded, and her business has been embedded with a solopreneur mentality and a solopreneur energetic. And it's kind of like, imagine that a solopreneur is a 2-bedroom ranch, right? And a legacy is a 10-story office building. Well, you need to take down the 2-bedroom ranch and blast out the foundation of the 2-bedroom ranch before you can build the 10-story office building on that piece of land, right? And so for her, the work is really about kind of letting go of everything that has supported her for the last 12 or 15 years or so, and stepping into creating consciously with her business the energetic foundations that are going to allow her to grow it into a legacy that she can walk away from, and it will live on after her, and there will be a body of work and an impact for generations to come. Just like Napoleon Hill. Look at Napoleon Hill, the guy who wrote Think and Grow Rich, or something. Did he write Think and Grow Rich? I think that's what he wrote. Yeah, and that he created a legacy.
Definitely.
It's lived on long, long after he died. And, that requires a different kind of energetic. It requires a different kind of blueprint. It requires a different kind of foundation in place in order for that to happen. And her business, was actually giving her feedback for a long time. Her business has been giving her feedback because things have started to dry up and stall. Mm-hmm. And when you have the consciousness that you can actually commune with your business, then, rather than getting to the point where things are dried up and stalled, you're able to dance fluidly into what's next.
Can you talk a little bit more about how to communicate with your business? You talked about an energetic blueprint, and how do you do that? I'm trying to picture what that.
Okay,
looks like.
So if you start by taking those five pillars,
mm-hmm.
you start by taking those 5 pillars of entrepreneurship that we talked about: strategy, communication, organization, revenue generation, and execution. Now, each of those has a frequency. Each of those has a vibration of their own, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they're also in relationship with one another, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what I'd like to invite you and everybody on the call to do, let's just do it together.
All right.
Do you have any stones?
Stones. Yep.
Yeah, stones, like stones or shells or something nearby that you could play with?
I
or pencils or anything, like a collection of things.
I was actually holding an amethyst crystal. So
of course. Great. I like to do a lot of my work with stones. So do you have 5 stones? Do you have maybe 5 stones nearby?
I can get 5 stones, but
great.
That's fine. It's fine. Yeah.
Great. Or 5 objects. We'll just use 5 objects.
That's good.
If you don't have 5 stones.
Okay.
I do like to work with those crystals, though. So now pick one of the stones that is strategy.
Okay.
Pick one that is communication. Pick one that is organization for your business. Pick one that's revenue generation. And pick one that's execution. And execution is like you get an idea and then you bring it to fruition. Okay? So do you have all 5?
Yes, I do.
Okay, great. So now I'd like you to organize them. Without thinking, just organize them in the way that it feels like your business is kind of organized. So like lay it out in front of you. So where is strategy going to sit?
I'm not sure when you say lay it out. So I would
just put these objects in front of you, kind of like lay out a picture using the objects. Each object is going to represent one of the things that we chose, and now you're going to organize it so it lays out in some kind of put down in front of you somewhere where strategy lives.
Okay.
Where does it live?
Well, I have it in the sort of the front.
Great. Now put down communication. Where does that live?
Okay, that kind of stepped up in front of it. So it was actually...
Now, where does organization live?
Now, this is what I want, or what I think is actual?
No, just where does it live? Where does the organization piece of your business live in relation to these other pieces?
Okay, so it's further down. So I'm kind of making a staggered line here.
Okay, great. And where is revenue generation?
Okay.
And now where is execution?
Execution.
And everybody who's listening can do this.
Okay. All right. So I have kind of a circle. That's interesting, but certain things are at the top.
Okay. So what you have in front of you is a message from your business.
Okay.
What you have in front of you is a message as to how each of these pillars of entrepreneurship are relating to one another. Does it look organized? Does it create a pattern? Is it scattered? What's going on here in the overall view that you have? You said it sort of makes a circle, but some things are more in front of others, right?
Yeah.
Right.
There's definitely some adjustments that could be made.
See? There you go. You just got a message. So that was just really simple, really, really simple. And we actually go much, much deeper in our work where you're beginning to actually commune with the spirit of your business. But the spirit of your business, brought through some information just very simply in this what we call mythic mapping. right?
I like that. That's amazing. So I'm
And so what are you aware of? What are you aware of? Are you too focused on organizing and not focused enough on revenue generation? Are you too much communicating, not enough strategizing? How are they interrelating with one another? All of those things, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And we can discover as we go deeper what's causing that. What's causing the imbalance between X and Y and Z and Q? Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. When we go deeper, we can look at, okay, well, maybe the reason the communication is up here and revenue generation is over here is because there's some kind of an anxiety or fear around X or Y, or something going on at the energetic level, or maybe there's a family history of something going on, or maybe there is a karmic contract that needs to be rewritten, or maybe there is a childhood wound that needs to be brought to the surface and cleared. So there's all kinds of information just in doing something as simple as mythic mapping. And that's just one of the 30 essential energy exercises that we teach, and we work with our evolving entrepreneurs to help them to just come into a higher state of consciousness around what it is that they're doing in relationship to the business. Because, you have your passionate purpose, right? And so there's a lot of consciousness around your passionate purpose. And then the business is kind of like this thing, right, that you have to do in order to get your passionate purpose out into the world. But the truth of the matter, it's not this thing. The truth of the matter is that the business itself can be an incredibly rich playground within which you actually are able to deepen your capacity to be conscious. You're deepen your capacity to be aware, and you can deepen your capacity to serve the people that you're here to serve by being in right relationship with your business and by allowing your business to partner you in bringing up the things that need to be brought to the surface for resolution.
I love this. I got distracted because I got all kinds of messages. That was an excellent exercise, and I'm going to definitely pursue this after the call here. There is definitely some things I need to write down from that. So just from that mythic mapping concept, what a powerful exercise. And just to think about aligning who I am and where my energy is with what I have created for my business and what that means and what that looks like, and that I have not had that communication before. I'd never really consciously created that together. So I love that partner piece.
Yeah, and it is about bridging this spirituality and practicality and allowing your business to be a playground for your soul. What happens for a lot of us is we step into this business thing, right? And we don't know what the heck we're doing in a lot of ways, or, we aren't even sure exactly how we want to put our business out there. Do we want to have a private practice? Do we want to do group coaching? Do we want to be on the internet? Do we want to make products? Do we want to do X or Y or Z? And you can get so overwhelmed. That's another challenge that shows up for a lot of our entrepreneurs is they don't even know where to start, or they're running off in 27 different directions simultaneously, and their energy, their personal power is scattered in a million different places. And so, to be really impactful and really effective in the world, your personal power needs to be focused and concentrated, but also in motion in a way that is inspired and divinely guided action, not reaction, not, oh my gosh, I'm in business and I need to make my $197 product right now, or that's what's going to happen. Do you know what I mean? It's really about, let's be conscious about exactly what I want to deliver, exactly what the business is prepared to serve into the world, and how we're going to work together. Because I've seen a lot of people who end up getting chained to the desk, right? They get so... At first they have this passionate purpose that inspires them and excites them and gets them really, really revved up to go, and then they realize they have to be in business, and then they end up finding out that they have to learn all this stuff about business, and then they get chained to the desk and they get so stuck in the businessy stuff that they end up drying up their connection with spirit. And so it's really about coming into that place of just divine union and balance and this merger between your passionate purpose and the vessel through which it's getting delivered.
Oh, that's beautiful. I really like divine union and balance. Clearly need that, and we'll spend some time on developing that. I want to just open it up for a minute. We're getting closer to the end, and I do want you to talk about, you've got the work that you do and the programs that you have coming up, and you have a free offer for people. So I want to have plenty of time to do that. But would like to ask now, if at this point, is there anyone who has any questions for Amethyst, and anything of the amazing things that she has talked about here on the call today? And to do that, you just have to press 5* on your phone. That will raise your hand, and I will unmute you, and you can ask your question. Any questions out there at this point? I think everyone's talking to their business right now.
Or they're out looking for rocks.
Looking for rocks. There you go.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll stop again at the end. If you haven't quite formulated your question, you write it down, so we'll give you another chance to ask Amethyst before we leave. So I wanted you to talk a little bit more about some of the things. You have some classes coming up. You have something that actually started in February as a group. Want to talk about what that is? And how
yes. So my partner and I offer a couple of things. Primarily, our main focus is on working with evolving entrepreneurs and helping them to access our score for your spiritually energized entrepreneurial success system. And so our core path, Energy Foundations for Divine Wealth Intensive, we actually had our first call, our orientation call yesterday. So if anything that I've said on today's call resonates for you and you're feeling like it's time for you to take that next step in your journey, if you're getting any kind of guidance around that, one of the most powerful and potent things that I did in my own personal journey and continue to do repeatedly is investing. I invest in myself. I invest in my business. And creating a business, automatically causes a calling for investing in yourself and in your business. And so we are offering that program. It is an investment that needs to be made in both time and energy as well as money in order to be a part of that program. And it's a fairly sizable investment for people who are really ready to take it to the next level and move beyond either stuck or overwhelm and into a place of divine balance and divine right relationship with their business. So if anybody resonated with anything I said here today and are really feeling called to connect in with the community of people that have formed to be part of this particular group that is moving through right now, we'd love to have you apply for a strategic energy evaluation. And you do that, actually, we've got 3 gifts for you on our page at theenergyjourney.com/gifts, GIFTS, theenergyjourney.com/gifts. You can go to that page and you can receive our Energy Edge e-zine. You can also receive an audio download, which is a guided meditation, and you can apply for an opportunity for a C session. And a C session is a strategic energy evaluation. This is where we see where you're at on your journey. We see where your dreaming is, where your visioning is, where you want to go, where you want to be, and we see what the gap is in between those two, and we see if we can serve you through our Core Path Intensive. That's basically how you would enroll in that program. We are very selective around who we bring into that program because we want to make sure that energetically everyone is in alignment with one another. So we have an application process and a vetting process that we go through in order to bring people into that program. And then for those people who are just like interested in energy and really ready to do some personal ascension work, we have created a program called Bridge the Gap, and it's a group ascension program, and it's almost completely focused on the energy. We don't talk a lot about, we don't really talk at all about the entrepreneurship piece in that. we are just really focusing in the Bridge the Gap program on helping people to be activated and initiated at the energetic level. And in that program, we use a lot of sound, and we also do channeling and guided meditations and so forth to help people to really get activated into a higher level of awareness and to awaken some latent codes in the DNA structure of their soul matrix. And so we use the crystal singing bowls, and my partner has an amazing voice. He's a naturally ordained overtone chanter, like the Tibetan monks. He makes those noises. And so we love to have people who might be interested in just really stepping into energetically amping your frequency and stepping into and activating your light body, to consider that program. And that you can find at www.attractingonlymiracles.com. So our Bridge the Gap program is at attractingonlymiracles.com. And that's a subscription program, so you enroll in that, and we have an ongoing subscription for that. So those are the two places where you can really connect more deeply with us. If you're an entrepreneur and you're really resonating with some of the stuff that Cecily and I did today, then really seriously consider making the investment of time and energy into filling out that C application and apply for a C session. And if you are just ready to amp your frequency and connect with the energy of higher levels of consciousness and open up your connections to Source at a deeper level, then we'd love to see you jump in and have fun with us in the Bridge the Gap program, which is at attractingonlymiracles.com.
Great. Could you just say a little bit more about the if people were going to go into the Core Path Energy Foundation piece, the intensive? How long is that, and what's involved?
Great. Yeah, that's a 7-week intensive, and we deliver that over the phone in 90-minute phone calls. We do that Tuesdays at 1 o'clock Eastern Time. We have a nice forum set up. It's a private forum that's set up, and in that private forum, we have not only audio files but also text files with all of the resources, and we have an opportunity for you to connect in and interact and intersect with the other people who are in the group, because what we've discovered is that, you know, when people come into doing this work, they are stepping into working with a group soul as well as working with their own business and their own personal soul stuff. So there's lots and lots of opportunities for shifting that happen in this work, and each call is very highly interactive. We have a limit on the number of people that we will take into any one particular group, and the most we've had so far is 8, and the very most that we would take is 16, and I think if we had 16 people enroll all at once, we would probably split it into 2 groups of 8, just because it's very important to us and to the program and to the group and to the people that are involved that everybody has lots of time to bring their work to the table. When one person brings their work to the table, it's actually shifting the energy for everybody in the group. So we very much encourage the interaction, and we spend most of our time on the calls doing facilitating transformation work right on those calls. And then we have a ton of additional resources. So like the 30 essential energy exercises that I talked to you about, those are actually set up in the forum so that you can access those essential energy exercises and use them and have them to play with and work with your business. And then we, on the calls, we ask you if you've had any time to connect with those, and if not, what's up, and let's do the work right now. So the intention of the Core Path is really to facilitate a massive transformation of consciousness for our clients, and a massive transformation in helping them to step into divine right action in relationship with their business, and at the same time to provide them with a toolkit so that after your work is done with us, you have this beautiful toolkit of essential energy exercises that you can take with you and use again and again and again, because we are always in this evolving, growing spiral. And so as we spiral around, there will come another time where you might feel stuck or you might feel scattered, and you are going to have that toolbox available for you. So,
wow, it's an amazing program. Do you also work individually with people, or just in someone?
I do. About 70% of my business is through the group program, and I have about 30% of my business is private. And the people that I work with privately, generally speaking, they are people who have been in a particular system or field for 20 or 30 years or so, and they're really a major leader or contributor in that field, and all of a sudden they have been awakened to a whole new way of doing things, and now they've been called to go back into this field where they have a particular reputation as being somebody who's been either a founding member or somebody who's been a major contributor to that field, and whether it's the field of insurance or real estate or healthcare or financial services or something like that. And now they're suddenly coming in with a whole new paradigm that is spiritually being downloaded to them, and they have to face people who have looked at them a certain way and come in being somebody else, really. And so my work with those people, my private clients, is really to help them to be fearless in the face of this mission and calling to be a massive change agent in their field of expertise. Wow,
great. I'm going to just stop again and ask one last time. Again, for questions, 5-star on your phone, anything you'd like to ask Amethyst about her programs or what she's talked about here today about your business. Okay.
So, Cecily, I just also want to say, if anybody does have questions, they are certainly welcome to send them to us at our team email address, which is team, T-E-A-M, at theenergyjourney.com. Because this is a lot of information. I know that, and there was also a lot of energy coming through, and some activations and transmissions that were coming through underneath the words. So sometimes people do have questions, so please feel free, if you have questions or if you're listening to this later on a recording, to feel free to contact us at team@theenergyjourney.com. And just mention that you heard us on the Light Beam Hour.
Okay. And I will post, there'll be 3 different emails, so there's places for people to go. One would be for the free gifts, and one for the Bridge the Gap program, and then an email to ask questions or to get in touch with you personally. So I will post those when we post the replay, so people will get access to those and the replay. So this is great. So to wrap up, final thoughts you'd like to just share with the group today?
Sure. I just want to say thank you to you, Cecily. I really, truly appreciate the opportunity to serve you and to serve your community, and I really appreciate what it is that you're here to do, being out in the world and providing a platform for masters and leaders and teachers like myself. So I'm just, thank you, very much appreciative of that. And I also want you all to know that, you're here. You are definitely here for a reason. And in spite of all of the movement you may feel of energy in your body that can look to you or feel to you like fear or anxiety or stress or disappointment or frustration or unclarity, it's okay. It really is okay. And there are ways that we can help you, and you are here to help people too. And in receiving help, in asking for help for yourself, you're opening the doorway for other people to ask you for help. If you're not willing to ask for help for yourself, it's going to be challenging for you to put yourself out there and expect people to ask for help from you. So one of the biggest lessons that I had in and continue to have in my journey is being put into the place again and again where it's time for me to ask for help. And however that help shows up, often I have had to invest again and again to get the help that will take me to the next place. And once you get the help, all of those feelings resolve themselves because you've moved, you've shifted, you've shifted that energy, and you are now in a new place and really positioned to deliver your destiny, your gifts, and your blessing to the world.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate that particular message for people to ask for help. It's a lesson I know I'm working on, and to invest in themselves to do that is so powerful. And everything you've talked about here today, very unusual perspective, and hopefully help people to shift some of the things that may have been getting in the way for them in developing their business. And it's such an honor to be here with you today, and thank you so much for sharing such amazing ideas and energy. I felt it, and I know I'm shifted myself as a result. So thank you again so much. And thank you all for listening, and we will be back again for another Light Beam Hour at the beginning of March. So take care, everyone, and blessings to you all. Bye-bye now.